catching up. We stay one step ahead of the line with AI by our side. We feel so alive, solving vibes, we're ready to thrive. Joe Marquez, our AI guide for this year. He's got the answers, trust him, and ditch that fear. In the summer breeze, we're feeling the vibes. AI by our side. We're gonna find no limits, no boundaries. We're reaching new heights. Joe Marquez, our gracious guide. It's gonna be alright.
Welcome, everybody, to another fantastic episode of A Summer with AI. My name is Joe Marquez, and I am going to be your guide for today. This is episode 4, and we are so excited that you are here. Please remember, all of the resources that we have here for our AI show is at bit.ly/Joe_AI. And when you get to this location right here, it has all of my resources, my email. Yes, please feel free to reach out to me if you would like. It has our Summer with AI form, so you can ask questions ahead of the episode. And then, of course, all the websites and all the tools that we talk about will be found under the generative websites. And then all of the different articles and stories that we'll be talking about are going to be found right here as well. So I definitely wanted to show that to you. And so this is episode 4. We are getting into second gear here. That is right. We talked a little bit about prompt engineering on episode 3, getting into that gear of a prompt engineer. And now we're going to go a step further and utilize the tools that we learned into that. Now, again, the tools that we learned are this blueprint for prompt engineering. Now we're going to keep going back to this because that was that's the reason for this. It's to go through. It's just basically a checklist that we have so that you can go through and say, did I include a task? Did I include enough context? Did I include an exemplar or some examples in my prompt? Do I need to add a persona? Do I need an output preference? Do I need to change my tone or style? This is just a checklist for you after you have written your prompt. Did I include the necessary items to make a successful prompt? And we're going to go through and show you today how we are going to be looking at that and doing it. And again, who is this guy talking to you? My name is Joe Marquez, aka the EdTech MacGyver, and know that you can check me out on the socials, the Twitter, the X, the Twix, whatever you want to call it, at Joe Marquez 70. You can also find me there on Instagram at Joe Marquez 70 as well. All right, last week, after episode 3, we had a challenge for you to create your prompt and then utilize that checklist that we just talked about to say, did I include everything that I needed to include? And I do appreciate each and every one of you who participated and messaged me saying that that checklist really helped you out to think about your prompt. Basically, you know, I think about my grandfather when I'm talking about prompting. My grandfather helped me, do a lot of woodworking and STEM stuff. I guess STEM before STEM was a term used in school. And he would always say, look, when working with these materials, you always want to measure twice, cut once. You always want to double check your work, double check what you're doing before you cut it. In that example, you cannot uncut a piece of wood. You can reprompt, you can follow up prompt, but it's always good to think about what you are doing before you actually do it. And that's what that activity there was about. And the reason we're doing this is because prompt engineering is a skill that I think everybody is going to need to harness. Now, right now, there are dedicated jobs to prompt engineering, but I don't think that's going to be the case going into the future. I think people in general in their work sites are going to need to know how to prompt engineer. Basically, how to get out of the generative AI tool you're working with, how to get the most out of it for your benefit, for your company's benefit, for your school's benefit, for your district's benefit. Can you utilize these things? And I love this quote from Yunyo Chen, who is a prompt engineer in her home country of China. And it says, everybody can run Google search now, but I can run a better one, right? Think about it. How do you search? How do you use Google search or Bing, if that's your preference? How do you use it? Do you know all the tips and tricks of how to really hone in on what you're searching for? Or you just type in something, very basic and hope for the best, right? That's what a lot of students do. That's a lot of what we do. I'll be honest, I do it as well. I don't write very great search prompts in Google search, so I don't get the best results. And that's probably the same for a lot of individuals. And the same thing with prompting. Just putting in a very short, unthought, unprepared prompt is going to result in a bad or crummy output. And so we need to become prompt engineers, right? Everybody, in the future, this quote would be, everybody can prompt a generative AI, but I can prompt better. That's the goal here. I want you to prompt better. That's the key right here. And there is no foolproof way of how to prompt. There'll be times when you prompt and it works perfectly. Times you prompt and it's not coming out the way that you want. That is okay. That is okay. And this is the best prompting advice that I can give you, because it's the best prompting advice that I've read. And it's no, you don't need a prompting guide, not at all. What you do need is something that doesn't come easily. What you need is a strong grounding in your preferred language, the relentless curiosity of a 5-year-old, and the intensity of a pig hunting for truffles. That means being inquisitive about what you can use these tools for and not giving up, constantly going after the tool to give you what you want. Because prompting is a very difficult skill to harness if you're not being patient in this. And we have to be thoughtful in how we are asking these questions, right? Think twice about your prompt before you put the prompt in. Think twice, cut once, right? And that's how we go about doing this. And remember, AI should be our collaborator in this journey. We shouldn't be asking the AI to do all of the work for us. And a lot of times we should be coming to the AI with work already done. And we just need the AI to help us make sense of our work or put our work into a language that others can understand better. I am in the camp that does not put intelligence in the writing process, right? I'm not saying the writing process doesn't take intelligence. I don't think we should say somebody is intelligent or not intelligent just because maybe they don't write as well as you. I think everybody has very powerful skills, and it doesn't always translate into writing, right? And so a tool like this can really help people who are great at research, great at storytelling, great at all these other things, but it's hard for them to actually write it out. Think of it that way. Okay, these tools can really help get what's here out here. And that's the key. Okay, let's bring everybody's ideas and thoughts out. And let's not limit them on, are they a good writer or not? That doesn't mean we stop teaching students the writing process. No, not at all. But it means utilizing a tool like this can push students past maybe a barrier that they may be having in a particular course or class. Okay. AI should not be the sole creator of content. It should be there as a guide. It should be there as an editor. It should be there as somebody saying, you're almost there. Here are some tweaks that I recommend to make it even better. That's what this is here for. An anytime, all-time tutor for you and for your students. Truthfully, do you want to spend hours writing a note home to parents? Or do you want to put all your ideas out there and say, now, tool, generative AI, ChatGPT, pal, friend, please, can you help me write this and send it home to my parents? I mean, is it going to change, the effect when it gets sent home, right? As long as you are including what you want it to say, let the tool do the rest, right? Some of you may be saying, no. I love writing those letters home to parents. I think it's more personal. Excellent. These AI tools should not be replacing the work you love to do. If your passion is spending hours personally writing letters home to parents. More power to you. Keep on keeping on. But if that is not your passion and you just want to say, these are all the things I want my parents to know, generative tool, please write it for me. If that's available to other individuals who don't want to spend hours writing a letter home, why should we say that's not proper? Right? We need to be able to change our mindsets a little bit. Okay. But just remember, AI should not replace the work you love to do. It should be replacing the work you don't like doing. Okay. As long as it will do it well, let the AI do the work you don't like doing. And the cool thing is, like we said last week, you get to decide, right? There's a quote from Fight Club. You get to decide your own level of involvement, right? You get to decide AI's level of involvement in your classroom. You get to decide. Well, also maybe your school site administrators and district policies, right? But you still get to decide. Like if you're an educator and you love lesson design and you want to do 80% of that work, excellent. Maybe the AI can help you with the 20% you're not very fond of doing, right? That means more of the work is on your shoulders. What about feedback for students? What if there was a tool that authentically and properly and quickly left feedback for your students after they got work done? You may love giving feedback, but maybe the benefit of enhancing the feedback cycle so students get feedback on what they need to change, if they get that done faster through AI, if it benefits the students, maybe we should let the AI do those kinds of things. But again, you decide. That's the cool thing here. You get to make those decisions, right? And another thing is, a lot of people, maybe they don't do a good job at thinking and then typing. Maybe they do their best work just talking things out. The cool thing is about a lot of these tools now have that voice tutor where you just get to talk and they respond back, and you have this conversation like you're having a conversation with a real person. But we have to still go through this checklist. Are we asking the right things, the right task? Are we including the right context, right? And that can even be part of your prompt. If I'm missing any pieces of information that will help you craft a better output, please ask those questions to me before we produce the output, right? Maybe you're under prompt, like saying, hey, I don't know if I'm good at this yet, but you're going to get the information out of me by asking questions of me. Right? Just like maybe a partner would do that. Do you have any examples? Change the persona. These are things we need to think about. Even if we're prompting with our voice, we need to be thinking about these things. We talked a little bit also about bias in the AI, right? All of these tools were created utilizing human writings throughout time. Okay. And humans can be inherently biased, and especially in different eras of writing, huge biases exist. Right. So we have to acknowledge that. And there's many tools now that in order to get that out of your purview, right? Like image generators, so that they don't show you bias images, they shadow prompt or correct the biases, right? They call this prompt optimization. They want you to be happy with the output. So maybe they do a little work on the back end. I don't mind it if they make it, if these tools make it obvious that that's what they're doing. And then they also share with you that they've done it. Again, for example, I showed you ideogram the other day, and I showed you my prompt is here, and then their magic prompt. And some of these images, they used my prompt, and some of the images, they used a magic prompt. It means they optimized my prompt so that the image produces something greater than what I would have been given if I just left it to my own prompt. I don't mind it as long as they're telling me that they're doing it. So we need to implore these companies, if you're doing these prompt optimization or shadow prompting strategies, please let me know so I can see what you're doing. Maybe that'll help me become a better prompter. But it has to be a two-pronged approach, right? The user, you need to understand your language, understand these biases exist, and prompt accordingly to remove these biases or to bring out more of what you're looking for in the output by acknowledging this is what I want, right? But the developers also have to be ensuring that they are really going through the data sets that they are ingesting in these machines to learn from, that they are removing kind of these bias works, or that they are putting guardrails in place to limit the power or sometimes they call it the temperature of how these biases are being used to produce outputs. So we are relying on the developers to do the good works of ensuring that harmful and bias information is not coming through the output. So it is a two-pronged approach. Our voice can try to get those developers to do the right thing, but as the user, it's the power's in your fingers. Or your voice, if you're prompting with your voice. The power is in the prompt, right? So acknowledging that there is bias in the AI helps us prompt those biases out. And again, there are multiple ways to go about acknowledging bias and prompting those biases out. Multiple ways. These are just two ways that I can share with you. Right? Some of you may be going, wait a minute, I was told this, or I was told, that's fine. There's multiple ways to do this. There is not a one singular way. This is just ways that I have learned that have worked for me, but it doesn't have to always work for you. And these prompting techniques were a negative prompting and fair prompting. And you can go back to episode 3 to get the whole explanation of what these are. But for example, negative prompting is specifically calling out what you do not want to see, right? Negative prompting. Like if you're talking about a park, but you don't want any people in the image, you need to say a park with no people. That's negative prompting. You are taking that out. Or fair prompting, using your verbiage to identify what could be bias in your language. For example, if you want a mail carrier, right, carrying your mail, you don't say a mailman, because that is a bias in the name, and it's going to take that and produce an image or a story about a mail carrier who is a man. Right. So by fair prompting is using language that is not genderized or doesn't have bias in that language or in those words. Right. That is the fair prompting. And you can go back to episode 3 to see that. And one of the reasons we have to do this, right, is because AI is here to stay, everybody. It's been around for a long time. It's just the generative AI hype cycle is here. And it's being implemented into multiple different apps. I mean, apps you probably use every day, like Canva, right? Padlet, Khan Academy, quizzes, Microsoft, Google, Adobe Express, Adobe Creative Cloud, CurryPod. There's some amazing tools out there that are helping people like Pace AI. These tools are really going to change how we can affect and reach all students, right? And so we have to get on the ball here and understand how we can take control of these devices, these tools, through the power of prompting. That's why I'm so passionate about prompt engineering, even though a lot of these tools initiate, shadow prompting. I still think the power comes from our prompts as well. And again, the checklist, the prompting checklist that I'm going to keep going back to is something that you can write your prompt and see, did I include the things I needed to include? And that's what we're going to be looking at today. But we have to have a plan. Before we approach the tool, we have to have a plan, right? And, and I call this AI cubed, right? Artificial intelligence, intentional inclusion. Why am I using AI? What am I going to ask it? How am I going to ask it? And what am I going to do at the beginning? How am I going to start? And it doesn't necessarily have to be just the tool. Let me give you an example of a current event that is happening right now. So Scarlett Johansson, known for lots of different movies, maybe Black Widow from the MCU. You know her best from that, but she's been in lots of great movies, especially a movie called Her with Joaquin Phoenix, where Joaquin Phoenix plays a gentleman who gets enamored with his AI computer assistant. And it just so happens that the AI computer assistant was voiced by Scarlett Johansson. And so I would imagine OpenAI was like, oh, this is a great opportunity for us to bring that movie to life by maybe having Scarlett Johansson voice one of our OpenAI AIs. And so apparently they reached out to Scarlett Johansson and asked her if she'd like to be one of the voice actors. And after thoughtful consideration, she said, no, thank you. Well, apparently OpenAI went in and hired another voice actor with a similar voice characteristic to Scarlett Johansson and was able to capture that voice actor's voice and turned it into a choice on the OpenAI AI app called Sky. And it sounded very similar to Scarlett Johansson. And because of the uncanny movie Her, people started saying, is that Scarlett Johansson's voice? And so it is not. And so Scarlett Johansson has sued OpenAI over the use of that voice. And I was asking myself when I was reading this article, this is fascinating. Is there protection to voice? I know there's protection to utilizing a celebrity's image in promotional materials. I know there is, there is case law for that. But if somebody else did the voice, even though it sounds similar, it's not her voice. Is there case law in this? I didn't know where to start. So I went to Google search to start, and it gave me California's celebrity protection law. But it didn't give me much. So what did I do? I jumped on over here to my buddy ChatGPT to talk about this case. And I literally mean talk about it. And so I'm going to show you right here that this prompt has what I need from my blueprint. Okay. So I am a researcher looking into personality rights in the United States of California. So right there, I've given it context of what I am and what I'm looking to do. Right? You don't have to be truthful in your context. You can, if you're just a teacher, but this is going to help the tool know who its audience is. So it's going to give them a particular type of information. Okay. So next, what else did I ask? I'm talking to the AI. You are an expert attorney who has been tasked with helping me understand the laws in place and how they relate to possibly being infringed upon with new AI technologies and audio and video applications. So I'm giving it a persona. And in this persona, the AI is an expert lawyer in this exact case law. And I'm asking it to put that into context of how AI tools could be used to infringe upon this, right? So that was just my load up. Notice I haven't done the task yet. I haven't given lots of context yet. I've given a persona, okay? A persona to myself and a persona to it, the AI tool. Now I'm going to give it the task. I have come to you because you are a well-regarded expert in the California Celebrities Rights Act, specifically California Civil Code Section 3344. I looked that up on Google. I wanted to make sure I'm including the right case law and the right laws to look at for celebrities while living, and then also California Civil Code Section 3344.1 for celebrities once they're deceased, because there's different case law for what you can do with celebrities when they're alive and what you can do with celebrities when they have passed. I will be asking you questions, and you will provide me with a legally accurate response. If the law is unclear in a particular circumstance, you will acknowledge this but also provide me with your most accurate guess on how that question would be ruled on in a court of law. Do you understand? Again, I'm saying I don't want you to make things up. I want you to acknowledge if you don't have the answer, but then provide me, based upon your expertise, your prediction of how this would play out if this lawsuit were to go to court, right? That includes exemplars. I'm including the California Civil Code sections. That's also part of the context. I've told it not to do anything yet. We're going to have a conversation. I don't want to know about these yet. I want to give you a situation first before you start talking to me, right? This is called a COT, a chain of thought. Don't do anything yet. Let me ask the questions and then you give me those answers. I don't want a full output yet, right? Chain of thought kind of questions. So it responds, yes, I understand. I'm ready to assist you in your research and how all these AI technologies can implement it, right? So, all right, so here we go. Can you please provide me with all the rights of celebrities which revolve around utilizing images, audio, and video in personality rights? Please provide me with how the United States sees these rights, how California sees these rights, and how other states protect these rights. Because I know from prior research that the United States leaves a lot of these decisions up to the states. And so when celebrities are famous across all 50 states, does each state have the same laws to protect them, right? So I wanted to see that. And so it says right here, the United States overview, right? It says, in the U.S., personality rights are primarily governed by the states rather than federal law. But here are some key aspects that they have, right? Name, protection against unauthorized use of the name. Image, protection against unauthorized use of individual photograph or likeness. This is the part that I am keying in on. Protection against unauthorized use of an individual's voice, right? That's what I'm keying in on. So now I'm looking at California, right? California code. Let's see what those are. Provisions prohibits unauthorized use of a person's name, voice, signature, photograph, or likeness, right? So that's key. Likeness is somebody else's voice that is similar to a famous person's voice. Are they not allowed to use their voice as a voiceover because that voice belongs to somebody else? For example, people say that my voice sounds a little bit like the ShamWow guy or Billy Mays. Remember Billy Mays? He is no longer with us. Or Guy Fieri from Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. They say my voice sounds eerily similar to those individuals. But wait, there's more. Maybe that's why. So if I recorded my voice and allowed people to use it, and Guy Fieri says, wait a minute, that voice sounds very similar to mine, I don't want you to use it. Do I lose out on that income because somebody else who's more famous than me says, well, wait a minute, that's their voice? That's the conundrum I had. I can't answer that on my own. Doing research on Google, it was very haphazard. So I'm utilizing the tool to be my research buddy, to be my expert. It's helping me understand these things. So it goes into California's Civil Code 3344 that I've asked for, and then talks about after death, right, as well. And then it goes into some other states that protects it. A lot of the difference is how long. So California protects after death up to 70 years. Indiana protects up to 100. Tennessee protects up to 10, right? So there's a lot of different things. And then application to AI technologies, which I asked in the prompt, voice cloning, AI generation replication of an individual's voice. And so that's what I was asking. How is this clear? And then unclear legal territory, likelihood of infringement, unauthorized AI generated likeness of voices used commercially may be seen as an infringement on a personality rights. And you would have to agree that OpenAI utilizing Sky, which is the name they gave that voice, as part of their offering would be considered commercially utilized, right? So that's what I was asking. And so I said, thank you. Then I said, okay, I wanted to know how this affects the Scarlett Johansson case. So I said, thank you. I have a scenario for you, and please use your expertise to help guide the legal aspects of the situation. Notice I didn't say, can you use this to talk about the Scarlett Johansson case? I didn't do that because I'm not necessarily asking about her case. I'm asking about cases like it. So I wanted and I don't want it to search the internet. Sometimes it can do it, sometimes it doesn't do it well. So I'm bringing the information in myself. So here we go. So it says, of course, go ahead and describe your scenario. So here's my scenario, right? A company hires a voice actress to record a voice for an AI assistant. The voice actress is paid and has given the rights to use the voice through the AI assistant. Another celebrity claims the voice is too similar to their voice and asks the company to cease its use. The company does not claim in any way, shape, or form that the AI voice is supposed to be that celebrity, claiming the infringement, and the voice is not of the celebrity, but it is similar. What are the outcomes of the case? Right. And so it goes through all of these different things about similarity to another voice. Another celebrity claims the AI voice is similar. The company does not claim that it's the celebrity. The AI voice is not the celebrity voice, but similar to it. This is a nuanced area because of Section 3344 typically addresses direct usage, likelihood of confusion, or deceptive practice. And so I think the key here would be they're not saying Scarlett Johansson recorded this, but because Scarlett Johansson was an AI voice in the movie Her, did OpenAI intend on using her voice? And if they couldn't get her voice, find someone similar. So in that roundabout way, would she win? Right? That's fascinating. Fascinating, right? And that's what they go through about all this, is we have to see if there was intent from OpenAI, even though they're not specifically saying the person's name, is that their intent to make people think it is. And they also go to past cases like Midler versus Ford Motor Company, using a sound-alike voice that is supposed to, that they're not saying is the celebrity, but is suggesting it's the celebrity without going outright saying it. I wanted to know more. I wanted to know more about that case. So I said, can you provide me with more information about the case on Miller v. Ford, and also provide links to this case on the internet? And it gave me facts about the case, about how Ford hired a singer that had worked with Midler and then imitated her voice, how it went through the courts, how she ended up winning that case. And I here's the links, but here's the problem. The links I can't click on. I can't click on the links. I wanted to click on the links because I wanted to corroborate the evidence. Here's the thing again, people. We don't take the output as 100% fact. The output should guide us to the facts and help us put the facts together. And so if it's giving us a case, we need to make sure that's an actual case and that they actually are regarding the case in the same way, right? And so I said, please provide me the actual URL of the cases you provided, because the links weren't working. And so it gave me the thing, but it still hyperlinked the URL. So I couldn't go there. And then I said, please do not hyperlink the URLs. Please just provide the actual text links. And here they are. They're right there. But here's the problem, right? So if I click on this link right here, that is claiming to be that case, it goes to a completely different case, right? Students would go, oh, I'm going to cite this website. And then if you went and checked on that website, it's not going to be anything that you are looking for to corroborate that website, right? Okay, maybe they just made a mistake. Maybe they just made a mistake. Let me go to this next one right here. Right, here we go. Let's go to this one. I'm going to go to the next link. That's a lot. Page not found. Wait a minute. They gave me the link, but page not found. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. This link here says Bet Midler v. Ford. This has to be a link that gives me the accurate information. Okay, here we go. Wait a minute. Templeton v. Jasper County. How is this even possible? See, this is the issue when we prompt these tools and expect for 100% accurate information, right? The goal is not to get your links. The goal is not to get your paper written for you. The goal is not to get for it to write you a bibliography, okay? The goal is for you to get an understanding of a topic you want a little bit more understanding of, and search isn't doing the trick, okay? This is a case in how the AI tool helped me understand a situation better than if I just relied on the internet wholeheartedly. And I can actually come in here to these different websites, actually type in the case, and it will then actually take me to the correct one. So now I can use this link after I've read it as part of my research. Okay. Or can I? We're going to talk a little bit more about citing next week. Can you use it? I didn't use this, and we're not 100% sure that the tool used this. So can I cite this as where I got the information when I really didn't get the information from here? I just want justification for my information. Is that how citations are supposed to work? Reverse citing? We're going to talk a little bit about that more next week. Okay. So that is a case that of using the AI tool to help understand things, doing more research. But again, listen, I had intent, right? I had intentional inclusion for using the AI to help me, for it to be a helpful research partner, for me to understand an idea more than I did, right? Why am I using it? To understand an idea more than I do. What am I going to ask it? I'm going to ask it about how this case is reflected upon current law, right? How am I going to ask it? Well, I needed to make sure I included the right context, included the right case law, included the right statutes, right? And then that's my beginning. I didn't know where it was going to take me. That is why I have all these follow-up prompts, right? I didn't just ask it all of these prompts at the same time. The tools don't do as well when you do it that way. Chain of thought. What do you want it to do? Acknowledge you know how to do it. And then answer question one at a time and then build on that. That's a great strategy for utilizing these tools. A great strategy on how you can talk with your students about utilizing this for research, for planning, right? But is it doing all the work for me? Well, it's going out and helping find the information for me, but I'm deducing the information. I'm going through the information. I'm making sense of the information. Okay. So I wanted to make that clear as a case for how these tools can be used. So how is it helping students today? Right. And I'm going very low level for you. And then we'll build up. Right. So, we did this a while back, simplifying a complex idea. Okay. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to start a new chat right up here. And I'm going to come in and I again, one of my favorite tools, AI Prompt Genius. You can find it over here in our resources underneath generative websites. You can come down and find it. That is linked. I like it because it just keeps a list of all of my favorite prompts. So I click on it right here and Plato's cave allegory. So we're going to dive into this deep. All I do is click on it and it saves it to my mouse, my clipboard. And I'm going to prompt it in, paste. Here we go. Sure. Imagine. So here's the question. Can you please explain to me Plato's allegory of a cave in simple to understand terms using analogies as an eighth grade student in 2024 would understand? This is the context. Okay. What is something that I'm missing? Right? What is something I could have added? I have my task. Can you please explain to me Plato's allegory of a cave? I've given it context. Please put it in simple terms using analogies an eighth grade student would understand. I didn't give it any examples. I could have said, for example, the Matrix would be a very great example, right? Or persona. I didn't give it a persona. You are an expert, right? On the philosophical teachings of Plato, right? I could have done that. So there's things that I can go in and add to my prompt. I can come up here and click the edit button and change this. You, right? You are an expert. I can do that if I want to. I'm not going to do that for this purpose at the moment, right? But it says, sure, imagine you're playing a video game where you're stuck in a dark cave. Well, I don't want to play a video game about being stuck in a dark cave, right? You're doing the exact same thing, but you're just saying, okay, imagine this is a video game. No, Please provide another example for me. Right? And so it's coming in, sure. Imagine you're in your classroom and the windows are covered and it is the only source of light shining projector through an image on. So now, okay. So now I'm not in a cave. Now I'm in a classroom. Now it's getting closer and closer to maybe an idea that I can understand. Right? So this is ways that you can get in here and help the student understand something a little bit more, or they can go in once they've learned how to do this to understand something a little bit more. Right? What about a paper they're writing? All right, so let me show you this. A student now. I've lost access to 4.0. Okay, so now I'm going to go to another account where I do have access to my 4.0. But I want you to know that ChatGPT, when you first log into it, it reminds us of something, right? It reminds us of this right here. Ask your questions. It can do all these different things. Don't share sensitive information. Your chat history may be reviewed to use to improve our services. So they are reviewing what you're asking. So don't be putting in proprietary information, sensitive information, student information. They're going to be ingesting it. Okay. And then check your facts. You may be given inaccurate information. These are things that need to be reminded over and over and over again. Okay, but we are using the new 4.0 right here. And this is what I want to ask. Okay, so let's say that I've done research. Okay, I've done research on a particular topic. And this is actually something I've done, or I've already done it. Okay, when I was in college, all the way back in spring of 2000, 24 years ago, I gave a presentation in my speech class, my public speaking class, on the MP3. The MP3 had just come out. Napster was hitting the blocks. There was the Winamp MP3 player that was just put upon the world. It was fantastic. And the internet was getting fast, allowing people to download these things. And I wanted to introduce it to my class. And people they had no idea about this stuff. It's crazy to think 24 years later, we have all these streaming services with almost every single piece of music you could imagine. But back then, the only thing you could do was go to a record store, Best Buy, pick up a CD and, hope your song's on it, or listen to the radio. It makes you feel so old when you have to explain it that way, right? But I did a vast amount of research on the implications to the record industry, to the music industry, to artists, and I was meant to give a speech. But the way my speech instructor wanted was, you just have your research in front of you. You come up with your information in front of them. She didn't want out a written script. So I never wrote a script out, but maybe I want to take this and actually write an article with it. So I've already done all the work. I've done the research. I've given my thoughts. I've given myself bullet points. But now let's say that maybe my speech class teacher was like, oh, that was fantastic. Can you give me a 500-word blog on this? I want to post it on my site because you did a great job. Maybe you're a good speaker, but you're not that great of a writer. Okay. Let's see what this can do for us. So here it is. You are the editor and mentor to emerging writers for an online publication. I'm giving it a persona. I want it to know that it's here to help me and mentor me. I am one of your writers, and I need help taking my research and arranging it in a sensical way so our readers can understand the article. After this post, this is key, after this post, don't do anything yet. After this post, I will be providing you with all the research and the ideas I have for my article and topic. Please review the document as a whole to understand my topic and thought track for the article. So look it over first. Don't just look it over line by line and then just talk about the beginning. Look it over as a whole thing first. Do not do anything yet. You will help guide me in the writing process, paragraph by paragraph, helping me craft the article for publication. Do you understand? So here we go. Yes, I understand. Please provide all the research and ideas you have. Once I have, we can start working on the structure of the article. Here's the cool thing. ChatGPT now allows you to upload a variety of different documents. So I have here my MP3 final research. It's in doc form, right? And I'm going to hit submit. So here we go. Great. Look, it's already done. Great. I have reviewed your research, and here are the ideas that I have for your idea or for your paper, right? So look at here. Let's begin by outlining a structure for the article as it flows logically and engages the reader. So the introduction, personal anecdote about discovering MP3s. Well, I didn't discover them, but in my friend group, I did. A brief introduction of the main issue, the impact, the history and origin of MP3s. That's a fascinating history of it wasn't necessarily meant for music. Key issues and arguments. Issue 1, personal use. Issue 2, accessibility and promotion of music. Issue 3, opportunities for new artists. Issue 4, free flow of information. I actually want to ask it a question about, since this was 24 years ago, I want to say, are there any attributes to this article that have come true? I'm going to ask it that, right? And some are key points. And so here goes. How about this introduction? Does this align with your vision? And so then I can go back and forth and explain to him what I want to keep and what I don't. And these are my words. They're just, the editor is just helping me rearrange them to make it more sensical as a storytelling opportunity for my audience. And imagine, over time, I start identifying myself on what crafts a great article, and I can start doing those all on my own. It's a learning process, and this is a tool to help me learn that process, right? I'm cheap. I admit it. I find any way I can to avoid paying full price for anything. Coupons, sales, knowing people who know people. I'm so cheap that whenever I come across a free sample, it doesn't matter what it is, I take 2. I could just say I'm frugal or just a good shopper, but no, I'm dirt cheap. So you can imagine the day I found out about MP3s, free music, I nearly had a heart attack. Why? When? How? So many questions entered my mind. That's a great intro, right? Most of that is my work. That was basically what I said in my speech class, but it arranged a couple things in a couple different ways that helped it sound a little bit better in a storytelling fashion, right? And then I could say, I want to change this or I want to change that. That is something that can help, right? And now I can say, I think I have a great start and have now written the entire article, but I need help with the conclusion. Can you please help me? Right? So this is me saying I got the rest. I just need a conclusion. Now it's helping with the conclusion, utilizing my information. And then it's also utilizing kind of the structure it knows that I'm going to tell the story in. But sometimes the conclusion is the hardest part. How do I put everything together at the end? I could arrange this a little bit better and say, do not write the conclusion for me. But taking everything into account, what should I include? Be very detailed, right? So there's a variety of ways you can talk to these things to have it do what you want it to do. Okay. So I wanted to make sure I showed that to you right there. I'm going to go back later and see how accurate I was on some of my predictions. I can't wait. I'm excited. All right. So let's take another look here. I want to show you a couple other examples over here. So, taking complex ideas, moving them forward. my 8th grade teacher told us a story and I'm having difficult time understanding it. Please help me explain it in a simple way. My 10th grade English teacher is asking me to write a paper comparing political structures of ancient Greece and ancient Rome. Please work with me in a step-by-step manner to brainstorm all the possible ways to approach this assignment. You want to see that? Yeah, that's pretty neat. Please walk me through the steps on how to solve the equation 4x plus x equals 25. Do not give me all the steps at once. So let me see if I have this here in my prompt. Genius. Kind of scroll down here. Well, it doesn't look like I have it right there, but I can always grab it this way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that one just so you can see, how I'm going to use this for math real quick. Okay, so when I grab the walk, it's again, here's the key thing. Please walk me through, right? Please walk me through the steps. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to come on over and I'm going to use GPT-4. Paste it in. There it is. And let's see what it does. Please walk me through. Do not give me the answer. So step 1, combine like terms. Okay, combine like terms. And so it tells me, what does that mean? The terms 4x and x are like terms because they both have the variable x, right? But now take a look. Is this the correct way of doing it? 4x plus x, right? Combine those like terms. Right now we have 5x equals 25. Now what do we do? Do you understand this step or need more help with it? In the OpenAI demonstration they did a week ago, maybe a little over a week ago, they had the person actually working this problem out, and it was giving them advice as they were going through it, right? So lots of cool things to be able to utilize with these tools that we have right here. And again, if you come over to our work over here, I have the prompt slide deck handout here. You can go through this and you can copy these prompts and try them out on your own as we go through this. But another one that I wanted to show you is, you can turn these AI tools basically into anybody, right? You can turn it into your letter of recommendation composer, right? You can use these to change the differentiation of reading levels. Thank you, Brent, right? Anything with Brent's lovely face on them is a prompt by himself, right? Role playing, right? And so so this is if you want to have Benjamin Franklin talk to your students, right? So here we go. I'm going to push this in. This will be our last one before we sign off for the day. I'm going to start a new chat, paste this in. You are now the top researcher and expert on Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States. You have read every book, diary, post, speech, and letter written by him. You have read every biography, history book recounting the life and times of Benjamin Franklin. From here on out, you, the expert, will respond to each question as if you are Benjamin Franklin. Do you understand? I've given it a role. Yes, I understand. I will answer your questions as Benjamin Franklin, drawing on my extensive knowledge, writings, and actions in the book. Can you please tell me about your time in France? Yeah, my time in France, indeed the most interesting period of my life. I arrived in France in December of... So look, it's there as if it is him. And you can dive in and ask questions. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Now, acknowledging this is not Benjamin Franklin. It's not him. It's a generative replication of him. But it's going to do the best it can to draw upon his experiences based upon everything that is in his data set. Very, very much like the same example we used on day 1 of a summer with AI. And that is Superman talking to his father, right? That is not Superman's father. That is a generative replication of him. But drawing upon all the data in the data set, all the history of Krypton, all the history of his father, his voice, his image, his likeness, Superman can now prompt with his voice, ask a question to his father, and he will respond as his father, right? So all of this comes full circle, this multimodal prompting, the ability to have a response in an actual voice, a la the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit. These are things that are happening now. These are things that are fast-tracked towards not only just reality, because it is reality, it's here, but towards the uncanny valley of reality. And are you ready for it? Are your students ready for it? That's the question I have for you. And your first step towards acknowledging that is by crafting amazing prompts and playing with these tools to see what you can get them to do. So that is your week 4 challenge. Based upon our prompt guidelines right here, using the task, the context, the exemplars, the personas, the formats, the tones, utilizing all of that, your goal is to craft a prompt and share it out. Where can you share it out? Well, you can share it out on the socials and hashtag Summer with AI and tag me, Joe Marquez 70. Or if you wish, I will create a special section right up here for you to paste in your prompt and share it with everybody right here on our resource page. But the best way to learn about these is to do, and the best way to do is just to follow this blueprint for prompt engineering. Now, everybody, I do appreciate you joining me each and every week. The audience is growing every single week, and I know that's because of you. You are sharing out that this show is becoming valuable for you, and I would please love for you to continue to share that out. Know that you can ask any question by contributing to our Google form here at bit.ly/summer with AI. And you can ask your questions there. Or if your district, your school site is doing some amazing things with AI, we'd love to hear about them and share them out. Also, don't forget to connect with me on the Twitter, the X, I call it Twix, at Joe Marquez 70. Same thing on Instagram. Connect me there, same exact hashtag, and follow the hashtag Summer with AI. And then don't forget, every show, if you've missed any of them, you can find them right there at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Sons of Technology. That will take you right there to be able to see all of our past episodes. I appreciate each and every one of you. I try to keep these episodes at about 30 minutes. I'm not very good. I'm not very good at that. But I just love chatting with you all, and for you allowing me to be a part of your professional growth leading in to the summer. Next week, we are going to be talking about how to implement these into classrooms. We're going to be talking about, we know that students, 13 plus with parent permission is the regulations for using these tools. But we do know that even younger kids are using them at home. So how do we talk to them about it? How do we talk to them about AI misuse? I don't call it plagiarism because that's a human thing and AI is not a human, but people do call it AI plagiarism. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then how does citing work? How can citing be a part of the process as we are utilizing AI in the classroom? That will be what we'll be talking about next week. And starting in June, we will be diving into the tools. So again, go on to our Summer with AI Google form and tell us the tools that you want to see. And a lot of them will be new to me as well. So I can go on and learn with you. Or if you're an expert user, on Diffit, if you're an expert user on School AI, if you have a tool that you've created and you want to share it out, connect with me, Joe Marquez, at Joe Marquez 70 on the socials, or You can find me on email, joemarquez70@gmail.com. So until I see you again, have yourselves a very, very